Hey guys, welcome to this week's track guide at Tsukuba. Hopefully I've said that right. Anyone that watches my Twitch streams will know that I love the butcher track names as well as usernames, so hopefully I'm close enough. It's a fun little track this week. 1 minute 1, 1 minute 2 lap times. They were thereabouts. I've not raced here since my rookie days in Rookie MX5. There's 3 hairpins on this 1 minute lap, so we should make for good racing this week. As always guys, if this video helps you out, please do smash the like button down below the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well for more track guides in the future. If you're after the Blap and Olap files, they are on my Discord. There's an invite link down in the description if you want to join and get those files for yourself. And I do stream 5 days a week over on Twitch. There's a link here and there's a link for that in the description as well. If you want to come over and see me racing live. Okay, just going to show the track details, guys. The date and time is set to what the official sessions are going to be set to next week. Track is currently 26 degrees. And the setup this week, guys, we are back to our favourite setup, which is SPO of +5, brake bias 54%, minimum tyre pressures, 8 on the anti-roll bar, and then 7.9 litres of fuel for qualifying, and 11.8 litres of fuel for the race. Onto the guide then. The lap I'm going to show you is a 101.594. As you can see, I've done a hell of a lot of testing this week. 50 laps in total to get this sort of lap time. My optimal lap was a 101.54, so this is very close to an optimal lap for me. Okay, coming across the start-finish line. To get a good run down this straight, you need a good exit out of this last corner before, so just bear that in mind. Across the start-finish line, coming down towards turn 1, car right on the left-hand side of the track. If I switch to cockpit mode a minute, I'm looking at this, the end of this fence post here as a brake marker. There's not really much else that I use. By the time you get there, this brake marker can be over here on the left-hand side of your screen, and that's what I use, so we speed it up a bit. When this fence post gets to this left-hand side of the screen, this is where I start to look to brake. If I speed it forward a bit, you'll see that just as we go past it, I'm starting to brake there. So not the best brake marker in the world, but it's okay. So, coming up, as you'll see, I turn the car towards this apex. It's a very, very early turn-in. Because if you don't turn in early, then you're not going to hit the apex at all. But one thing you need to notice is that I come in, and I turn the car, point the car towards the apex, and then I start braking. So, if I go here. As you can see, I turn the car, and then I turn the car to point it towards the apex, and then I get on the brakes. So I'm not braking in a straight line this way. I turn the car towards the apex, and I'm braking in a straight line towards the apex of the corner. Bringing the car in, I'm a little bit wide coming in here. This telemetry thing isn't working very well, is it? If I go full speed a minute. On the brakes, up to about 50%, constant, and then just kind of lean off, slowly come off the brakes into the corner. We're going from 5th gear, or 4th gear even, down into 1st gear. But you want the idea of this turn 1 is to carry as much speed to it as you possibly can. Other things to note through turn 1 are it can get a little bit slidey, especially if you're on the brakes too late or if you're on the brakes too hard. You'll start to lose the back end. The car starts sliding, then you are going to lose time. So try to keep the car as stable as you possibly can. You see, around I'm feathering the throttle to turn 1, and as soon as I'm about halfway through the corner, I'm back to 100% throttle then. Use all of the track on the exit of the corner, up in the 2nd gear. As you can see, all of the track, all of this curb. Up in the 2nd gear, up in the 3rd, coming down towards turn, I'm not sure if these count as turns, I think they do 3, 4, and then turn 5 is the apex. I keep it in 3rd gear, so you want to use all of this curb here. Then you want to use all of this curb here. Like so. Just as we straighten the car up, just before the end of this curb, if I go to the cockpit, you'll see what I'm looking at. So turn the car in, use all of this curb, and then we're on the brakes pretty much just as we're starting to get to the end of it. One thing to note here, guys, is the car will be screaming at you here to go up in the 4th gear. If you go up the 4th, you're pretty much going to come immediately back down the 3rd gear. So unless you're in the draft, I just keep it in 3rd gear here. So 3rd gear, down the 2nd, in the 1st, again up to about the 60% sort of braking threshold. Down in the 1st gear. Again, it's another early turn-in. As you see, there's plenty of nice camber on the road here to get the car around. Coming around the corner, I can use a little bit of curb. I don't particularly like to use these curbs because you can lose traction. It can be a little bit quicker though. If you use some curb and some of this green stuff, you can gain a little bit of time out of it. Just be careful on the throttle though, because if you full gun throttle it through this corner, the tires will lose grip and then you'll lose time. But as always, I don't particularly like to use that much curb unless I really have to. So as you can see, I'm not really using a lot here. Another thing to note about this corner is you don't want to get back on the power too early. On the full speed playthrough, you'll notice that I lift and I kind of coast through the second half or the mid part of this corner before I get back on the throttle. So try not to get back onto it too early. To turn the car in, I do use a little bit of curb here, but as you can see from the telemetry here, I am using, I'm pretty much coasting for the mid part of this corner. And then, as you can see, when I hit this curb here, I'm back on the throttle, but I'm back on the throttle at 70% because I'm on the curb. If you go back to 100% throttle, as I said, you will not lose the car, but you will lose grip, which will then in turn lose speed. So back to 100% throttle. You can let the car go wide and use this curb. Just avoid the mud because then you can lose traction. And onto this fast right-hander. Okay, little trick that I'm using here. Normally I use the clutch to upshift. Here I'm holding the upshift pedal. So what you want to do is you want to second gear. You want to go up to 3rd gear. Normally I use the clutch to upshift. Here we're not going to do that. So what I'm doing, I'm holding the upshift paddle thing, whatever it's called on the steering wheel. I turn into the corner. And then, so you want to turn in and then you want to lift off. When you lift off, the car will go up to 3rd gear. So there's no clutch needed. Yeah, it's probably easier to see this at full pace. So hold in 3rd, lift off, the car will go up to 3rd gear, and then you're immediately back on. So it is a 100% lift, but not long at all. The main thing to note though is that you want to turn into the corner first before you lift. If you lift before the corner, then you'll miss it because of this, what's the word I'm looking for? Weight change of the car. So you want to turn into the corner, then lift off. The car will go up to 3rd gear, and then you're immediately back on the power again, leaving the car go out to the left. Hope that makes sense, guys. If you've got any questions, and please leave some comments below, and I'll try my best to make more sense of that. But hopefully, most of you will get it. Okay, going around this left-hand turn, it is flat out. Just keep the car to the left-hand side as far as you can. We're going to go up from 3rd into 4th gear here, coming down towards the final hairpin. Brake markers for this hairpin are, we go to cockpit. Coming up, so you see this little bit of green AstroTurf or whatever it is. You see this little dent in the AstroTurf here. This, I know it's small, but this is what I'm using as a brake marker. We go up to it slowly. So I'm looking at this. As soon as we hit that, then I am on the brakes. I know it's small, and it might be hard to see at first, but you do get used to it. As you come up, looking at that, hit that, and then I'm on the brakes. From 4th, down to 3rd, down to 2nd, down to 1st. turning the car in. It's the same thing as the first two hairpins. Lean off the brakes slightly, down into the first gear. When you get to about halfway through this corner, you're back to 100% throttle. One thing to note in this corner, guys, is that you're back to 100% throttle a lot sooner than you think you can be. It took me a lot of laps to get used to this. So I was kind of going to this point before getting back to 100% throttle and taking a lot tighter line around here. But I found that it's a lot quicker to get on the throttle earlier, take a wider exit out of this corner, using all of the track, and then you get a better run down the straight. So let's watch that again from chase cam. Coming into the curb, looking at that, on the brakes from fourth gear all the way down the first, turn the car in nice and early. I'm a bit wide here, but we're going to go for I go for a really late apex here. You see, back to 100% throttle really early. I miss the apex a little bit, but you don't really want to use the curb because, again, using the curb will lose grip, and you lose grip and use time. So really early back to 100% throttle, using all of the track on this left-hand side. That I can use even more track here, so I could have gone on the throttle earlier, which meant so I could have found some more time there. Okay, down what is the only straight. Coming into this last corner, this really fast right-hander. I will say, if you're fighting someone down here, you really do want to defend on the inside of this corner, because it is going to be very, very difficult to try and overtake someone around the outside of here. But if you are battling and you are stuck on the outside of this corner, then perhaps slow down a little bit first, and then get a better run down into turn one than them. It's probably the better place to overtake. Okay, coming down towards this last corner. As for brake markers, there's not really much braking in here, but I'm looking at the end of these, I don't even know what these are, hay bales, square hay bales or something. As you can see, as soon as we hit these hay bales, that's when I'm starting to turn the car in. And then lift off, a little tap of the brakes, not very much. And go from from fourth gear down to third gear. And then I feather the throttle about 75% most of the way through this corner. You can get back to 100% throttle about here, especially when the tires are warm. I find though that on the exit of the corner, you can tend to scrub a little bit of speed off. And when I say scrub a little bit of speed off, I mean we're talking thousandths of a second here. So if you want to be back at 100% throttle, then it's probably better to be at 100% than scrub a little speed than not. But take it as it comes. Okay, into the corner. I'm sort of 75% throttle, keeping it to the inside. Again, this curb on the right hand side, I try to stay off it, because if you do touch this curb, it tends to throw you out on the exit of the corner wider than you want to be, and again that will cost you time. So try to stay as close to it as you possibly can, but not too close to it. Okay, tight to the corner, and it's back to 100% throttle. Leave the car go really wide here. You can use all of this out here if you need to. You can use it all, crack on. As long as you're back to 100% throttle really early, and then back up to fourth gear. And across the start-finish line. So there we have it for this week, guys. Again, I hope this track guide helps you out. If it does, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's a hot lap coming after this. So if you're just after that, you can see the full hot lap in full as it comes. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next week.
time. 1.5.